I was probably a fairly terrible person. I was very irresponsible. Just searching a lot. So I spent a lot of time traveling when I was a kid, and usually, I went to other countries. I would come home to Canada and work, and then go away, and for a long period, like 9 months or a year, and then come back and do the same thing again. And then after a while, I figured I was just running. I was always running, and finding it hard to stay still, just kind of deal with things. So yeah. So it took some pretty strong shifts for me to kind of stay still and experience whatever I had to experience, and be who I had to be. And I'm still trying to do that. I still figure out ways to run away all the time. I would say it's a pretty big change if we can change. I still see aspects of old me all the time, so parts are slower to change. But looking back, I've always been interested in like higher states of consciousness. Those, I think the Star Wars generation actually, and the whole Yoda thing, and I think that shaped us a lot. Joseph Campbell, and so I think that was kind of steering me, that message and that idea, and whoever I identified with in that story. And I guess we all identified with Luke. I don't know. But I was always interested in esoteric ideas and the idea of higher consciousness and practices that could bring us to enlightenment. I feel like totally overwhelmed by my practice all the time. Yeah, in a big way. But I also feel after time now, I realize that that's when I'm doing it, when I let it overwhelm me. When I try to consign it to a place in my life, and like I've got it figured out, and it becomes something I just have to check off in my day, and it becomes almost like a chore. Right. When it's overwhelming me all the time, it's just around me all the time, and I'm constantly working as hard as I can, to understand it and to integrate it, and that's when I feel like I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So I have no idea. The reason we run away is so we don't have to change, and that change is I think that's it giving back, or that's the work. Like that's what we want to happen, but it's such a terrible thing, because it puts you onto a shifting ground. You stop knowing who you are, what you're doing, and you have to live like that all the time. It's terrible in some ways. The practice tells us in some ways, okay, well, this circumstance comes up, you should do this, and there's certain ways to act and behave, but you know what I mean? When you really get in touch with your motivation and stuff, you realize you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. That's the truth of it. Hopefully, you mature so much, or you change so much during the practice or through the practice, that you don't have the same motivations anymore. So if you keep doing it, why are you doing it? You're a totally different person. If that's possible. I keep thinking that lately, like I don't know how much we change,